you didn't do very well on the test, okay?
Oh, God.
And there's a couple reasons for that.
Oh, please.
In your whole life, did you ever tell even one lie?
No. Please, no, please, no, please. I'm so sorry. No, just that you don't hear about no shit like that. I know.
Friends, today's unfortunate bugger is Lajouceline Booker. Now, in 2014, her 4-month-old son, Jeremiah Booker, was found dead with a cut liver and head trauma. The police then bring her in for questioning, and in this interview, she's going to undertake a polygraph test, or a lie detector as they say. Now she claims her roommate Chris is the one that committed the murder. I'm going to start with her initial questioning from the officer, then we'll get to the polygraph test.
And so what do you think happened then?
I think he beat my baby to death.
Okay. And when you say he, you mean Chris.
Mm-hmm.
So when you left that night, the baby was fine.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't nothing, any problems where you thought, hey, I need to take him to the doctor, get checked. Like there wasn't nothing.
It was something. Well, I took him and got some shots prior to that, and then it was my mama said something about a bruise on him, and I thought my son did it, but I should have paid attention.
Before this day, you ever thought that
No.
Chris was hitting the kids and not telling you or anything?
No.
And he would he ever have your permission to spank them if you were away? If he thought
no, he said he don't hit the kids.
Okay. Like if your kid was doing something bad,
he'll fuss at him, but he's like, I'm not gonna hit your kids.
Okay. But he never had your permission. You weren't okay with him hitting.
I mean,
kids, right?
Okay, my little boy, my 3-year-old, like we got like a little ruler, this little plastic ruler you can paint. But I never told him he could beat my kid. You don't hit no 4-month-old baby.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You don't. What can a baby do?
Yeah. All right. So you weren't, if he was or ever hit them before, you weren't aware of it before
sir.
that. And before this happened,
I don't even know how to answer that question because it's still keep on going back in my head with that. So it's kind of fucking me up.
Well, I understand. Now looking back on it, hindsight, Mom said that he had a little blood and some bruises.
And I'm thinking, and the baby was just jumping over him, so I could have sworn. Yeah. And now I feel like this is what I feel like.
Well, you'll feel guilt because you're the mother, and you want to protect your children, and you think, well, what could I have done? If I would have noticed that bruise or if I'd have noticed the blood,
I would have paid attention.
Maybe I'd have took him to the hospital.
But see, the thing is, my son was jumping over him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was. So he was. I just do not believe you did not see my baby. I'm the one that found my baby. And I don't give a fuck what nobody say. He knew my baby was looking like that. My baby had shit all on his face like somebody was just jumping on him.
And definitely though, before you left,
he wasn't looking like that at all.
You noticed the little things, but it didn't look nothing like how
at all. Okay. And it was horrible.
And you don't think, I know you've thought about it, but you don't think that, let's say Doodoo Man did jump on him, it wouldn't have caused any of that.
Right? I ain't even gonna lie. I even thought like, did Doodoo Man do this? But Doodoo Man don't got enough pressure to do that.
Oh, by the way, Doodoo Man. So she had a son, Jeremiah, who was 4-month-old, who's the victim in this case. She also had another 3-year-old who she refers to as Doodoo Man. I couldn't quite make out his name, so in the subtitles, I'm just going to put my son, just so you know. Oh, and by the way, earlier I said 2014 this took place. It was actually 2015. I just could not be bothered to go back and re-record that bit.
Like you could tell clearly that the injuries he had, that an adult or a grown person did. Okay. And then before this time, I know you said that you never spank a 4-month-old because what can they do?
What can they do? I kissed him when he cried. I do. I be kissing him on his guns. He was like, man. I'm like,
So before this incident, though, you never spanked the baby or punished her or nothing like that? Okay, good. And you wouldn't give anyone permission to do that, right? I know you wouldn't, but I just have to ask. All right. And have you learned anything new about what's happened since you've talked to the police or anything?
No, it was pretty much all gut feeling from the jump. I learned something new about this situation. That you can't be nice to everybody. You can't help everybody. Because you can help somebody and they don't do nothing, but this is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
I had my own place. I paid my own bills. I got my own thing. It's you, your mama, and your grandma ain't got nowhere to go, and you come to my house. The whole family must be obviously fucked up. Excuse my language, sir.
Do you think when you said you think Chris beat the baby, do you think it was like he's trying to sleep and the baby's crying? He gets upset and the baby won't stop crying.
I
so
never
he
thought
gets
he
mad
would
and
do
hits
nothing
it,
like
or
that.
do you think he like just wanted to attack the baby or something?
I don't know. I ain't never think he'll do nothing like that.
Yeah.
Not like that. No, I ain't even think he would hit no baby.
And was the baby slept in the car seat?
In the car seat, the baby was in the bouncer. Because I remember the car seat, I put the baby in the bouncer because the car seat had poop on it because he had just got shots. Now, so far as they asked him with him being sick or whatever, when baby had shots, they be like sleeping a lot towards the,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now, okay, he just had shots. And then I just took him down there. So when he had the runs, you know how to get the runs sometimes, I switched him to the bouncer. And I had put the car seat up. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to get my mom to come watch this. But by the time everything come to pass, look.
And when you came back and turned the light on, was he in the bouncer? Or
he was in the
car
seat.
In the car seat. Okay. So definitely, though, when you left, he wasn't in the car seat.
No, sir.
So Chris was there, and then Chris moved him to the car seat, probably. Okay. And when you left around midnight and you came back at noon, you didn't come back in the middle of the morning or nothing like that.
No, sir,
right?
I didn't.
Do you know if Chris had other people over there, or
I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I think his mama knew. I think he called his mama if something happened to baby. I think the mother knew. I really honestly think so.
Because I think she called the police, right?
She called the police. Yeah, because obviously he called her first instead of calling the police. Yeah. Ain't that something?
And since this, is he gone or is he still there?
Where?
At your house. Chris?
No,
okay.
Chris ain't in my house.
So he hasn't said nothing?
I ain't even in my house. I can't build it. Oh, Lord, I don't need no my stuff on the road. My whole life have changed. My whole world is fucked up.
I know.
Oh my God.
But it's hard. I mean, nothing but time is going to help, But you just have to.
Oh, you got my other baby no more. I should have paid attention. I will do another try to help. I have my own shit. I got my own shit. I got my own bills. I got my kids.
Yeah.
And then I could be trying to help somebody else out because y'all don't got nowhere to go. And this is how I get repaid.
Yeah. I think, you do the best you can. You make your own way. And you didn't know that this person would do such a thing.
I know he's going to kill my baby. I never thought that.
I don't think there's no way to know that.
Huh? I don't know.
All right. A couple other things. The baby had some significant injuries, like you said.
Oh, please. I cannot go. I can't keep on. That's the only part with this test. Like when y'all keep on going, I'm just like, man, can you just put me in the chair and let's get to it?
Let me just ask you one important part, and then we'll be done with it.
Okay.
The baby, from what I understand, had some bruising to the chest. Before you left that day or that night, did you notice those bruises on the baby?
No.
Okay. So before you left, though, you didn't see any of the bruising?
No, the bruising that the baby had, besides what I told you, no. Okay. Not at all. My baby did not look like that.
Okay. And in any way before that incident, I know you said you don't spank the baby or discipline it, but prior to that day, did you ever do anything at all that would cause that type of injury to the baby?
No,
like
sir.
Any spanking, hitting, kicking, punching,
no, sir.
Shaking, squeezing,
no.
Okay? And never like anything on accident that wasn't on purpose, like changing the baby and he fell off the table and hit like we were changing his diaper.
No, I mean, no.
So even if it was on accident, nothing that
I didn't do that.
Okay.
I didn't do that.
And you don't, no doubt or confusion, like you know 100%.
I know 100%.
I never did anything to cause that bruise.
Yes.
Okay. So any type of injuries the baby may had or may not had, like you didn't cause it.
I didn't cause it.
And as far as you know, though, before that night, Chris wasn't spanking the baby or hitting it that you know of.
That I know. My mind keep on going back because I
saw.
Yeah, what my mama said, and I was like, damn, I should have paid attention. So that's gonna be kind of, you know what I'm saying? I'm just being 100% honest.
The part you're struggling with is responsible. Like I didn't hit the baby and do it, but maybe if I saw that
I could
It took
have
them away.
avoided it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And my 3-year-old was just jumping over the baby
Yeah.
for real.
So now it becomes, well, was Chris hitting the baby before and that?
Yeah, and
made
I'm
you
like,
feel-
oh my
okay.
God.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would have never.
I think that if, just from talking to you, I think you're pretty intelligent and a good parent. So I think if you would have saw that and thought, that's not right, something's up, I think you would have.
Yeah.
You know, I think most people would have done the same thing you did. Well, that doesn't look like an alarm, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I didn't think it was an alarm.
So there's no way around it. You'll always feel bad about it, but don't.
Yeah, I don't know how that's
blame
gonna be when
yourself
they
for
come in
it.
there because
Okay.
I really
All right.
do.
But you
I
know
do.
100% though that you didn't
I didn't do it.
cause no bruises or nothing, right?
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
know 100%.
All right. So you might feel bad about, well, had I saw it and took the child out of there, maybe he wouldn't have done it. But there's no doubt in my mind, I know I didn't cause none of that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So let's go ahead and go over the questions then, okay?
Right, so the questions he's now about to ask her refer to the polygraph she's about to take. Just to give you more clarity on the situation, she was not home. She was gone for about 12 hours, and when she came home, she found her child in the state that it was in, from the abuse the child received. Again, she blames Chris. Anyway, let's get now to the questions in the polygraph.
All right, so everyone thinks that when you go and you take a polygraph that there's just a polygraph. But really, there's literally hundreds of different types of tests, okay?
Mhm.
It all just depends on the person you're testing and what the purpose of the exam is. So today, the particular exam that I've chosen for you has 3 parts to it, okay? Each part is going to last roughly about 4 or 5 minutes, so it goes by pretty quick, okay? There shouldn't be a reason to have to do more parts unless something happens beyond our control. You know, the power goes out or we have some type of difficulty. We may have to repeat one of the parts, okay? All right, so basically there's 3 types of questions I'll be asking you today. Questions about the case, the issue that's being investigated, you know. Questions that I like to call special questions, and these are questions where I'm going to ask you to lie to me on purpose. And then we're going to ask you questions that are considered technical questions, and these are questions that sound kind of silly, but they're just to help the test to make sure that it works properly, okay? All right, so let's cover the questions about the case that I'll be asking you today, okay? The first question I'm going to ask you today concerns your intent to be truthful. Is it your intent to be truthful today? Okay, obviously it is.
Yeah.
All right, so regarding whether you inflicted any of those injuries to that child, do you intend to answer each question truthfully?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all that means is I'm going to be asking you a couple questions about the injuries on your child. And do you plan to answer them truthfully?
Oh, I'm
Okay,
100%.
good. And when I say that child, I don't mean to be insensitive or not
I know what you're saying.
personal, but
that child, right?
is your baby. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Understand that question?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is did you inflict any of those injuries?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So what I mean by that is when I say inflict, that means the bruising on his chest or the injuries he had. In any way did you cause that? Did you punch, strike, kick, bite,
No.
shake, throw him down, drop him, anything like that? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So in your mind, you're clear. You didn't do anything to cause
I
that.
didn't do
Okay.
that.
Good. And just to go over it, you understand what I mean by inflict, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in order for a person to have injuries, they have to be caused or inflicted. Where you would have literally had to punch him, kick him, spank him, drop him. You didn't do any of that.
That's a 4-month-old.
Right.
I like it when he cried. I used to love it. I used to just kiss on him. He's like, man, yeah, he's a flick me. Yeah.
And on that question though, you understand exactly what I'm asking.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you didn't do anything to cause that.
No, sir,
okay?
I didn't.
Good. All right. And the next question is going to sound almost exactly like that question, but with just an extension on it. Okay. Did you inflict any of those injuries to that child?
No, sir.
And it's basically the same thing. You know, we're talking about your child, your baby. Did you do anything at all to cause those injuries to it, to inflict that damage? Punch, kick, strike? Okay, good. Understand that question?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And now I'm not asking you about, did you leave him there? Could you have prevented it? None of that. I'm asking you purely, did you physically cause that injury?
No,
okay,
sir.
So you understand that, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. All right, so the next question is did you see anyone inflict any of those injuries to that child?
No, sir.
Okay, so what that means is I'm asking you at the time that baby received those injuries?
I was not there to see it.
Yeah. Did you see who did it?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So you, does that make sense to you? You weren't there when it happened watching it. You didn't sit there and watch it happen. Of course not, right? Because had you been there, you would have stopped it quick.
I probably really would be behind bars if I would have seen it. You know what I'm saying?
So I know that we talked about it. You know, we suspect him and we think that he did it, but you didn't actually, you weren't there to see him do it. Okay. Understand that question?
Yeah, sure.
Good. All right. And now let's cover those special questions, okay? So remember before at the beginning I said it's important that you're actively involved in participating here. So these questions kind of make sure that you're doing that, okay? You're going to have to listen up and pay attention to identify these special questions. And once you do, you're going to have to follow special instructions on how to answer them. It's very important that you get these special questions.
I got toothache. Right. They're going to mess anything up.
No, you'll be fine.
Oh, my God. I got some Amazon somewhere. All
right. Okay, so let's cover these special questions. And these are kind of funny because I'm going to ask you to tell me a lie on purpose, just like the tie thing, okay? But it's okay because I'm asking you to do it. So let's practice these, okay? So everyone in their life has told a lie before. You have, haven't you?
I told one before, but I don't.
Not on a regular basis, but in your life you have. You know, I have before sometime. And everyone in their life at some time has made a mistake before. You have, haven't you? All right? And everybody at some point in time in their life has lost their temper before. You have, haven't you? All right, so take a few seconds. I want you to think of any time in your life that you ever told a lie. It doesn't matter what it was about or who you told it to. Just think of some time in your life that you told someone a lie. But don't tell me about it. Don't tell me what it is. Just let me know when you think about it. All right, now think of any time in your life that you ever made a mistake. Doesn't matter what it was or what you're doing. Just think about it, okay? And don't tell me what it is. Now think of any time in your life that you ever got lost your temper before, okay? All right, so think about those things, but don't tell me about them, okay? So during the exam, I'm going to ask you questions about these type of things. The truthful answer is yes, but I want you to lie to me and say no to it, okay? So I'm going to begin these special questions with the words, in your whole life. So when you hear me start a question like that, when I ask it to you like that, in your whole life, that's your cue. That's how you know, all right, this is one of those questions where I'm supposed to lie to it on purpose, okay? It's the only questions that I'm going to start out like that, in your whole life. So let's practice them. Make sure you lie and you say no, okay? So in your whole life, did you ever tell even one lie?
No.
No? In your whole life, did you ever make even one mistake?
No.
In your whole life, did you ever lose your temper?
No.
Good. All right. Understand those questions? Again, you followed my instructions. Anytime you hear me say that in your whole life, you're supposed to lie to me on that on purpose, okay? It's very important that you do that, okay? If you daydream through these and you miss these questions, you're going to fail this test, okay? So those are very important. All right, so the purpose of these special questions is to ensure that your body can and does respond appropriately when you tell a lie, right? It's also so I have something to compare the important questions against, right? Because how do I know if you're lying if I don't know what it looks like? So as long as you follow my instructions during this test and you remember to lie to these special questions and your body produces that response and continues, you'll pass this test. If you don't follow my instructions though, and you don't pay attention to these special questions and you don't remember to lie to them and your body doesn't produce that response, then you'll fail, okay? All right, so last we're going to cover some technical questions, okay? And these are questions that you're going to answer truthfully, and it's going to be obvious that it's the truth. It's so I can see what it looks like when you tell the truth, and it's also to ensure that this test works properly, okay? So these sound kind of silly, but just go along with it. Is this the month of June?
Yes.
Okay. Before this year, did you live in Florida?
Yes.
And is today Tuesday?
Is it? Yes.
I think it is, yeah. Good. All right, understand those questions? All right, so now let's cover a couple questions that are going to make sure this test is working properly, okay? So before I told you there's no surprises today. I'm only going to ask you on the test what we're covering right now. I won't ask you anything at all that we didn't cover right now, okay? That's how it works. I'm not allowed to just ask you a trick question or a surprise question in the middle, all right? So the first question is, are you convinced I will only ask you questions we have already reviewed?
Yes.
Good. Is there something else you are afraid I will ask you a question about?
No.
Good. Okay. And what that means is I'm only going to ask you the questions we've covered. Okay. I'm not going to ask you any surprises or tricks. I'm not going to ask you about something you did last week or something at work or nothing like that. The only things that I will ask you during this test today is exactly what we've covered right here. Okay. Anything outside of that, I won't do it. Okay. So understand those questions? Good. So let's practice answering your exact questions for this test. Right? Here comes the exact questions I'm going to ask you. All right. Is this the month of June?
Yes.
Regarding whether or not you inflicted any of those injuries, do you intend to answer each question truthfully?
Yes.
Are you convinced I will only ask you questions we have already reviewed?
Yes.
In your whole life, did you ever tell even one lie?
Yes.
Remember, that's the one.
Oh, shit.
That's the special question. So anytime I say
in your whole life.
In your whole life, it's yes, but I want you to lie and say no. Okay.
Okay.
All right. In your whole life.
My mind be fucked up sometimes. I'm throwing a little bit.
This is kind of tricky because it's not something you normally do.
Yeah.
And then you always tell the truth, and I'm asking you to lie, so it's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
So in your whole life, did you ever tell even one lie?
No.
Did you inflict any of those injuries?
No.
In your whole life, did you ever make even one mistake?
No.
Did you inflict any of those injuries to that child?
No.
Is there something else you're afraid I will ask you a question about?
No.
In your whole life, did you ever lose your temper?
No.
Did you see anyone inflict any of those injuries to that child?
No.
Good. All right, so the questions I just asked you are the only questions I'll be asking you today, okay? The only difference is they might be in a different order.
Okay.
All right? Good. Okay, so what we're going to do now is any questions about the questions?
The question you like is there. You scared? I'm gonna ask you another question. I still be like, oh.
Yeah, I won't do that.
Okay, that question I had you say, you gonna be like.
What we just covered is the only stuff I'll ask you about.
But it's like, are you scared? I'm gonna ask you something else.
Yeah. It's not like a trick. Like I'm not gonna get you in the chair and say.
I'm just saying,
Tell me about last year a bank got robbed. Did you do that? Like I can't do all that.
I ain't worried about no stuff like. Okay.
Yeah. So I can't bring you here for this and then ask you about other stuff.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So I only ask you exactly what we covered. Okay. And is it clear to you which questions that I want you to lie on purpose about?
Yes.
That's the one.
I'm gonna make sure I pay attention.
In your whole life, right?
In your whole life.
All right. So what we're going to do is, do you want to get some water and use the bathroom?
No, I'm ready.
Okay. So we're going to start with a little practice test.
Okay.
That's just to get you familiar with the process, let you see what it feels like to sit in the chair with the stuff on you. It doesn't count, and I don't grade it. And then after the practice test, we'll go into the actual test. Okay.
Hold on, I probably can't use the restroom.
Okay. Good. I'll take you over there.
So he's gone over how the polygraph test will go. And remember, when he says, in your whole life, she must lie. So now she's going to come back. She's going to sit on that seat and she's going to go through the test. He asks her all these questions 4 times over. So I'm just going to go through one part of it and then we'll come to the conclusion of what he thinks.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these components to you and then we're going to cover all the instructions, okay?
It is kind of cold. We sure ain't going to mess nothing up, is it?
Okay, so let's cover all your instructions and I'm going to attach all these components, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is place both hands like this and lean forward just slightly, okay? So these are going to fit snug, but it shouldn't be so tight that you can't breathe. If you can't breathe, then that's going to be a problem, okay?
Snug where?
One goes on your stomach and one goes on your upper chest.
Oh, okay.
All right, go ahead and take your left hand, turn your palm up toward the ceiling and just extend your arm straight out. Okay? All right, so let's cover your instructions. So imagine you're at the doctor's office and you're going to get an x-ray taken. And every time right before they take your x-ray, you move all around, right? It's not going to work out too good. So same thing with this.
I'm trying. I'm fidgety too.
Yeah, that's fine. I want the purest tracings possible from you.
Okay, I'm trying.
But to get those, I need you to remain as still as possible, okay? So not right now, but during the test.
I'm trying to practice because I don't know how to stay fidgety.
Yeah. So during the exam, while we're testing, rule number 1 is no moving.
I don't know how to do that. I'm trying.
We'll get through it. So you're going to sit still with good posture. Head up, chin up, look forward. Both feet planted firmly on the ground.
Okay.
You can blink your eyes, but don't close them because you'll fall asleep during this thing, right? Okay. So no moving means no coughing, sneezing, burping, farting, wheezing, deep breaths, sighs, clearing your throat, none of that stuff, right? So we're all human. If you have to do something, go ahead and just do it. But if you can help it, try not to.
I'm
right?
trying not to.
And again, these rules, it's important you follow them because it helps you pass this test.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, an example is during the test, let's say you have to yawn or someone had to.
Yeah, I feel yawn at that.
Someone had to cough or something. People are so afraid to move that they'll clench their jaw and try to hide it. Don't do that. If you have to do something, go ahead and just do it. But if you can help it, try not to. Okay? All right. Second thing during the exam is there's no talking. Every question I ask you, you can answer with a simple yes or no. So there's no reason to discuss it, talk about it, explain your answers. They're all just yes or no. Okay? Answer everything verbally and not physically. So don't nod your head yes and no during the test. Okay? And it's just a simple yes or no. You don't have to say no or no sir. Just no. Regular old no or yes. Okay? All right. So let's get into this practice test. I want you to think of a number between 3 and 8, but it can't be 3 and it can't be 8. All right. Got a number in mind? All right. You're going to take this pen with your left hand and you're going to write that number in the center of this page, about 2 inches in height there, and then just put a circle around it, okay? All right, good. I'm going to add some numbers to that. So you wrote 7, you circled it. I'm going to add some to it. All right. So I wrote the numbers 4, 5, 6. You wrote 7 and circled it. I wrote 8 and 9. I forgot my tape. I'm going to put it on the wall over there right in front of you so you can look at it during this practice test. I want you to answer all my questions truthfully, yes or no. And then follow those instructions that I gave you, okay? And this is what it's going to sound like. Regarding the number you wrote on that piece of paper, was it the number 4?
No.
Was it 5?
No.
Was it 6?
No.
Was it 7?
Yes.
Was it 8?
No.
Was it 9?
No.
Good. You followed all my instructions. You answered your questions appropriately. Everything went well, okay? All right, give me just a second. I'm going to set up a template for you. And you can relax. You don't have to be all...
I'm trying to. I don't know how to.
You can just... you don't have to be a statue right now.
Okay.
All right, so here in a moment, we're going to go ahead and do that practice test. Before we do, I want to make a change to it, okay? This time on the practice test, when we get down to number 7, I'm going to ask you, was it 7? I want you to lie to me and say no. Okay? But it's okay because I'm telling you to do it. So let's practice that one time. Make sure you...
I just say no to all of them?
Yep. And make sure you lie on number 7 and say no. And this is... This is what it's going to sound like. So regarding the number you wrote on that piece of paper, was it the number 4?
No.
Was it 5?
No.
Was it 6?
No.
Was it 7?
No.
Was it 8?
No.
Was it 9?
No.
Good. All right, you followed all my instructions. You answered your questions appropriately. Everything went well. Here in a second, we're going to go ahead and do the practice test for real, just like that, okay? All right, so you're going to feel some pressure in your arm as I inflate that cuff. I'm going to massage the cuff to make sure there's no air trapped inside of it. I'm going to release the pressure, and then we're going to begin, okay? Make sure you follow all of your instructions. And on number 7, you're going to lie and say no. All right, so here we go. And this is the worst part of the day. I only have to do this part once.
That was bad.
Yeah. Well, most people don't like that part. All right. This portion exam is about to begin. Please remain still.
I'm sorry. Lord Jesus. I think it's this thing that's uncomfortable.
All right. You going to be able to continue? You going to be okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm feeling okay.
All right. Go ahead and just relax for a second. And you only have to be still for just a couple of minutes.
Okay.
So what we'll do is take a few seconds, and then we'll continue on with this practice test. Just follow all of your instructions, and then make sure you lie and say no for number 7, okay? It is going to restrict the blood flow to your arm, so it's going to your hand may tingle or whatever, but it's not going to injure you or nothing.
No, it's not. Okay, let's just begin.
All right. All right. You sure you want to continue and try to do this?
Yeah, it's just in my arm. Can we start this thing over? Jesus, look at all the veins. I ain't eating nothing. Everything popping out that arm. Look at this. I can't do that.
Okay. Now I can move it to your forearm and see if that makes a difference for you.
That? It's irritating. Okay, no, I'm gonna try to stay still. Come on, let's just go.
Okay.
Oh God, I cannot. Look at my veins. My whole arm looks like it's about to pop off. You see that?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, so there is going to be discomfort. There's just no way around it. It won't be any permanent damage or effect to you. It's just temporary because you just kind of lose feeling to that part of your hand because of the restricted blood flow. But there's no way to do it without it. So I can try to move it to your forearm. And if that's... If that part's unbearable, I'll try it on your forearm. That may feel better for you. And we'll just see how that feels for you, okay?
Okay.
But it doesn't stay that way forever. Like while we test, it's on, and then when we're done with that part of the test, you get to take it off and you get to rest for a minute, and then we start back.
Okay. Well, we could pump it and we could start then. And then as long as you can release, I thought it was gonna be the whole time.
No, like we stop and then we do one part and stop, then one part, stop, and then the last part.
Okay, well I could bear with it.
Okay.
I bear with it. I thought it was gonna be the whole time. I just want to make sure I'm like.
No, it's not forever, but it is a few minutes at a time though. This portion exam is about to begin. Please remain still. Regarding the number you wrote in that paper, was it the number 4?
No. He's doing it again.
Your arms bothering you?
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm just waiting. It's doing it again. Okay, I can do it. I can bear it. Come on. I gotta get it done. I'm
gonna try something different, okay?
Okay.
Because once we get into the real test, I'm not gonna be able to test you. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
Like you can't move at all, and if that's bothering you, then we won't be able to do it.
Oh God.
You know what I mean? Like it's not fair to you for me to test you if you can't.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
You know what I mean?
How long do we pause in between each question? Can we just like?
It's gonna be about 25, 30 seconds in between each question. Yeah.
Okay.
But what I was saying is I can go get a different cuff and see how that works on you. All right, so let's go over this one time real quick, just to make sure you got everything, and then we're going to try to do it, okay? Mm-hmm. So again, on this practice test, answer all your questions truthfully, yes or no. On number 7, though, I want you to lie to me and say no.
Okay.
It's important that you follow your instructions. You're going to sit still with good posture, head up, chin up, look forward, both feet on the ground, and no moving or no talking, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and attempt to do this, okay? So let's go ahead and continue on to the test. We've already reviewed the test. Again, I will only ask you the questions that we reviewed, okay? And do you remember, is it clear to you which questions that I want you to lie on purpose about and which ones I want you to tell the truth about?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. So we're ready to go ahead and try to knock out part 1?
Yes, sir.
This is the month of June.
Yes.
Regarding the injuries to that child, do you intend to answer each question truthfully?
Yes.
Please keep your eyes open. Are you convinced I will only ask you a question we have already reviewed?
Yes.
In your whole life, did you ever tell even one lie?
No.
Did you inflict any of those injuries?
No.
In your whole life, did you ever make even one mistake?
No.
Did you inflict any of those injuries to that child?
No.
Is there something else you're afraid I will ask you a question about?
No.
In your whole life, did you ever lose your temper?
No.
Did you see anyone inflict those injuries to that child?
No.
This portion exam is over. Please remain still until I tell you it's okay to move. All right, you can move. All right, how was that?
It wasn't bad.
You did. much better job staying put that time. So,
Mhm.
all right.
You see the test results?
No, I mean I see tracings, but I don't actually score them like
Okay.
while we're doing it. I'll score it afterwards.
But you can see the tracings.
Yeah, I can see
It's doing
tracings.
pretty well for me.
What's that?
I said it's doing well. I'm doing better.
Yeah, you're doing better. Before I couldn't get a good reading on you because you're fidgeting around, but now you're doing much better. So. Okay.
Again, I'm still feeling myself tense up. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's okay.
If you do something that is a problem, I'll let you know. Like I'll say,
Okay.
don't move or open your eyes.
Yeah, I don't want it to work against me or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. So that was part 1. We're going to move into part 2. Okay. Again, I'm going to ask you the same questions. It's important that you remember the special questions in your whole life. That's the same thing. Those are the ones where I want you to lie to me and say no. Okay. And then on the other questions that we covered about the injuries, things like that, you're sure in your mind what inflict means, stuff like that, right? Good. All right. Any questions about what we've covered? Okay. And again, like I said, the only questions I'll ask you is the ones that we've reviewed already. Okay. So no trick questions or nothing like that. All right. So we're finished. So what I do now is I go over it, I look at it, and we talk about how you did on it. And then Investigator Jackson may want to speak with you. So on the test, was there anything that you thought about during the test when I asked you those questions that we didn't discuss before? Well, let me just hold that thought. What I'll do is I'm going to tell you, I just believe in being straight with you. You didn't do very well on the test, okay? And there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, it could be that I didn't explain the questions to you good enough and maybe you didn't understand it. Second thing could be is during the test, you may have thought of something that we didn't talk about before.
I was visioning my baby.
Yeah, and then the third thing could be you just didn't tell me the truth. So it's probably one of those things, or it could be a combination. But during the exam, when I asked you,
do it again or something?
Well, when I asked you the questions about injuring the baby, did anything come to mind? Like, did you think of something you thought of before that we didn't discuss, or you remembered?
I was picturing my baby, what my baby looked like
when you found him. And I know that's got to be very difficult to remember. I mean, it's terrible what happened. There's no taking that away, nothing to take away. I can't minimize that. I just tell you, we talked about the exam, how it works, and how a person responds to a question. So what my training would tell me is that one of those 3 things: either you didn't tell me the truth, I didn't explain things to you properly, or you just thought of something that we didn't discuss earlier. So I would tell you.
What about the temperature in here? I was yarning and stuff.
No, that wouldn't affect it. I do take into account for that. The temperature, the being cold would affect your body's response and your sweat gland activity. But as long as you're consistently producing a response, then it's still good. If anything, it would be the cold would make it to where you won't respond at all, like to where we couldn't run it. So that wouldn't be an issue. Any yawning, you would have to yawn at specific times for it to affect the exam, and that's why I'm careful to watch you to make sure that doesn't happen. So.
Yeah, yarn. I was holding in some yarns too. You think that could have been it?
No, I would see that if that happened.
Well, I was telling the truth, so I don't. You think something that a vision or something or anything? I'm not lying.
So you don't remember spanking the child previously?
No, I don't. That's a 4-month-old baby. You don't get no response from no baby.
Okay. Well, I would just tell you that if there's any chance, like if there was any explanation as to what happened, and I'm not saying, I'm not accusing you here, but
that's what
if there's any possibility that maybe, like we've discussed before, like maybe you're changing the baby and he accidentally rolled off the table, like you turned around and he rolled off and fell down, or maybe the other child injured it.
You talking about due to the marks?
That's to cause that bruising.
No.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if there's anything like that could have happened.
No, like I had said, it had crossed my mind. I'm like, do you think my little boy could have did it?
You're talking about the 3-year-old?
Yeah.
Because before you left that day, your mom said, hey, he's got a little blood on his nose and some bruises.
No, that was the day before.
That was the day before.
And my son was jumping over him, but that did not have him looking like that, though.
Yeah, because when you left, he didn't have any of that type of
No,
bruising.
he didn't have none of that.
Yeah. I would just say that if there's any possibility, you know, if there is a good explanation, you know, if it was an accident or anything, now would be the time to get out in front of it. You know what I mean?
I swear to God on my life, my mother, everything. I'm not lying about nothing. There ain't no explanation. I wasn't there.
And we talked about before. Then you feel like if you would have looked more into what your mother was saying, maybe you could have prevented it.
Yeah, now that really do.
Okay.
I really did thank my son because he was jumping right over him, and I was like, stop, and then, but he wasn't looking like that though. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like if I could have I should have listened to my mother. I should have listened to my mother. My mother, she pinpointed something out, and I didn't listen to her. She called it word for word, and I didn't listen to her.
Do you have any questions? Okay. But you know, my part's finished. Again, I don't have anything to do with the investigation, so you know, unless for some reason another exam comes up or something, that I wouldn't have any more involvement in it. But the yawning or the stuff like that, I was
100% honest. I mean, I wasn't there. I didn't do it. I didn't kill my child. Matter of fact, I gotta go finish buying more stuff for my child's funeral.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming in, and I'm sorry that you're dealing with all that.
So, what do you think? He concludes by saying, yo, I think you're lying. The test proves that. But everyone knows a polygraph isn't admissible in court, am I right? So I'm not too sure why he took this test in the first place. Now, I do have her actual full interrogation, I just don't have all the parts. I also have the interrogation of Chris Harris. So this case is going to continue. Give me a few days, I'll post it for you. But comment, tell me what you think. At this moment of the story, is she guilty?